Hi everybody, welcome back to my Spotify Wrapped character series where I create one character out of every song on my Spotify Wrapped 2025. We are on character 24, based on Jeremy Zuckerman's Into a Nighttime Sky. This is the dreamy kalimba song from Avatar: The Last Airbender. It has motifs of Aang's theme in it, and because it has Aang's motif in it, I would like to make another airbending monk. So in the show, we didn't get to see any of the female air temples. It was gender segregated into males and females, and because Aang's a boy, we only ever got to see his mentors, who were all men. And then we have some flashbacks to the previous airbending avatar, who was a woman, and she's very cool, but she's also got kind of like a checkered past because some people don't remember her well and some people do. It's this whole thing. I looked at her Wikipedia page a while ago and I forgot everything I read. But I'd like to make a girl, a female air monk. I don't think they go by nun. I think they are monk either way. I think that's how they're using it. I'll double check. So that will be my design this episode. I plan to spend a lot of time doing some warm-ups, drawing in the avatar style before I put this girl on paper, on film. I know that the creators of the show used to run commercial spots where it was like, draw Aang with me or whatever, and those would air on Nickelodeon. I actually caught those as a child more frequently than I ever caught episodes of the actual show. I didn't get to watch it all the way through until I was an adult, so I will be referencing those. I know I found the one for Aang on YouTube, and if I find the other ones that ran, then I will make sure to link them in the description.
Hi, my name is Mike DiMartino, and I'm co-creator of Avatar. And I'm going to show you how to draw Aang. To draw Aang, I had to start with a circle. I'm going to add the cheek and a rough outline of the ear. Then about halfway through the face, I draw a line for the eyes. And I draw his neck and his shoulders, and sketch in his clothes. And I switch to a darker pencil for the details.
Okay. Obviously he started with a circle, easies. So the circle looks like it's the top of the head. He's got a pointy chin. I've given him cheeks that are a little too round. I think the ear should go lower. It should. He's got big, happy mouth. That's honestly, oh, and the point at the bottom of the mouth is not in the same, it's not on the center line like the point of the chin is. It's to the side. That's fun. This mouth, this like open mouth, yeah, like the :D emoticon. Look how tiny his neck is, by the way. It's connecting here under the chin and here way under the jaw. That's teensy. That looks insane when I draw it. Anyways, that face, that's like my favorite face. But it dates me severely when I try to use it in text messages because nobody uses it anymore. So what's interesting about the eyes to me in this art style is that they are very lineless and very simplistic. That doesn't suck for me just kind of going dry into this. I just did this whole warm-up page. Feeling a little okay about it. I want to get going. So, of course, I'm flipping it and will not be able to see it right now, but that's okay. So I want to draw first just like a full body standing up in a similar pose to how Aang is here, kind of arms at the sides, just to get an outfit for her. I'm going to put her around Katara's age, so like a little older than Aang, a little younger than any of the reference photos I could find of Avatar Young Chen, who is the female avatar who came before Aang. And I'm going to be honest, part of my reason for aging her up a little bit compared to Aang is because it's so much easier to find reference images of girls around that age from the main cast, because you've got Katara, Suki, I know there's Toph, who's closer to Aang's age, but then you look at like Legend of Korra, and Korra is also like roughly around the same age. So there was just more to practice with and to go with for ladies, and that's kind of refreshing. I've noticed Yang Chen and Aang both have pretty big ears, so I'm gonna give her big ears too, but I might give her a more rounded chin, kind of like the way Yang Chen has. And I've been thinking of ways to try to make her visually distinct from her compatriots. One thing I'm going to do before I get into that is try to block out the rest of her body now. And I thought for a little while about whether to give her pants or to give her a skirt, because in some of the full body images of Avatar Yongchen that I found, she's wearing a skirt. But I don't think the Air Nation would necessarily care too much about like gender dimorphism on this issue. And when you look at older pictures of Aang, when I say older, I mean when he's older, he is wearing big flowy robes, kind of like a dress sort of a deal. So I think the whole thing with airbenders is probably that they start out in these more practical, everyday sorts of pieces of clothing, like big tunics and pants with a separation, so that they can really, while they're practicing and fine-tuning their art in their youth, they can move as freely as they want to. And then as they get older and a little more stately, their body already knows what to do and how to bend the air, so it's not as important to have a really practical outfit, and then you can have a more dignified outfit showing your station or showing off your fashion. Although I feel like fashion would not be as big of a deal for Air Nomad monks, because if you are a monk, which by the way, the females are called nuns, so I was wrong on that. But anyways, if you are a monk, individualism is not really the most important thing or even necessarily on your radar. So I'm gonna give her the pants. One of the compelling things about Aang was the ways that he did, struggle with being an airbender. There were things about his natural tendencies that didn't mesh very well with the life of a monk and the discipline of an air nomad, let alone the avatar. He was a little impulsive, and I'm saying this about a 12-year-old, so like what 12-year-old isn't, but impulsive, definitely let his anger get the best of him at times, which made it even more meaningful for him to be such a pacifist, in my opinion. And then there's also just the matter of like his inability to take certain things seriously. I don't want to give her a carbon copy of the same problems that Aang had. I think that she will have some different obstacles on her path to becoming a better airbender. And thankfully she doesn't have the weight of being the avatar of her cycle on her shoulders. It'll be someone else. I would like to think that maybe she struggles with comparison. Because Aang is individualistic, and that gets in the way of him being a monk, I think we could flip it the other way and think about how struggling with comparing yourself to others can be individualistic in its own sort of way. You're really only focusing on yourself if you're comparing yourself to others, which is a little ironic, but it's true, because you're thinking, I can't do that about something that you perceive that they are doing. They're not even necessarily succeeding at it, but we can get so much in our own heads. And I think especially for an air nomad, that would be very difficult to grapple with, because I don't know, just living in a temple and having to learn from other people and copy them and mimic them and to not get it right on the first try, it can be very draining on your patience if you just don't feel like you're ever going to do as well as somebody else in the same arena as you. I think that would be a good character trait for her to have, to work through and work around. And also that level of comparison can make her a very quick learner. If she's constantly monitoring her technique and weighing it as opposed to someone else's technique, there is a way to do well, or there's a kind of a way to reap fruit from that method, because you're then figuring out more quickly what you're doing your way that isn't giving you their success when they do it their way. And I really hesitate to use right and wrong for a lot of things. I'm sure there's a right and wrong way to airbend, but like in real life, when it comes to trivial things like getting the dishes done or learning to ride a bike or whatever, you just do it your way. And that's another reason why, that's another reason why comparison would be really tricky for her, because there's like a lot of stuff in Avatar where it's like, no, you have to do it by the book. Like, this is how the masters figured it out a million years ago, maybe sometimes literally a million years ago. But to do things your own way and to create your own type of bending, I don't know, I feel like she would benefit from a conversation with Toph, but she lives a long time before Toph. I've decided she's like before the main cast, before anybody. She's long dead by the time the air nomad, like, genocide happens, so of natural causes peacefully. Nothing bad ever happened to her. She just learned. Just kidding, that would be like the most boring story ever. Here she is petting her air bison. There's this disconnect in my mind between how I view the air bison, like how I imagine them, and how they actually look. And they're always cuter in my mind. It's been less than 10 minutes of sketching and we've already got a full body picture of her and a little picture of her with her bison. Maybe it'll be floating. Well, I've committed to shading that now. This looks so stiff. I'm going to make this look a little nicer. I feel like Sky Bison would have that weird dog texture, that like oily. Well, I don't know what else to do for her, so I'm gonna call it for now, for here. This week's artist inspiration is Maksy, another YouTuber. She makes a lot of different art forms, from costuming to puppetry to room design and prop making. She does cosplay stuff, she does everyday clothes, she makes little guys. I thought she would be an appropriate choice for this video because she actually makes an Appa figurine, like an art doll of him, in one of her videos. One of the things I think that draws me the most to Rachel's content is the approach that she has towards what she's doing. She wants to have fun. She wants to make things that she will enjoy looking at and using. She wants to promote whimsy. I just really love all the different things that she does. I love that she's not afraid to try new things, not afraid to fail. She will often put failed experiments or failed projects on camera and show them off to the viewer and explain why she thinks they didn't work well. And that's something I strive to do as well on my channel, to be honest with you guys who are watching and to show you, like, sometimes I try something and it doesn't work, or I don't like the way it turns out. I do think sometimes she can be a little hard on herself. I think every artist is at the end of the day. I will link her channel in the description. I will also link the channel that I got all of the how to draw commercials from. I found the one for Aang and the one for Appa on this channel. It is the Avatar archive, so I'll link them in the description. And I'm going to call it for this episode. Next week, I will give you a spoiler. Might end up being a skip, but I'm not entirely sure on that. So you'll have to check back in next Friday and see what song we're doing, whether it's number 25 or number 26. And with that, I wish you a good week. So anyways, I saw a shrimp.